So we arrived a week ago, and we flew to Preveza. I managed to get really good flights. The boat was stern to on the town quay. Once I arrived, I wasn't really bothered about going anywhere, to be quite honest. I'd done that huge, massive task of leaving a country, really. We wandered around a bit, and then we had to go and get a cruising permit. So we went to go and find out where to get it. And then we were told that you have to first go to the bank and you have to go and pay about €50. But the bank had a queue of about 150 people. It's 387. What number are we at now, kids? And then we had to find another office where you get a form and they fill in a form. I don't even know what that office was. And then once you've done all that, then you have to go and find the Coast Guard office. And you go there, and then they need to see your insurance. It needs to be translated into Greek, and they fill in quite a few forms as well. There's probably about 10 forms you had to fill in. The process is quite lengthy, but eventually when you get it, you have this paperwork that you're supposed to show at every port, which no one's really asked for it yet. So there's quite a few things that we had to get for the boat, just basic stuff like baskets to put inside the huge cupboards, so things like that. We bought electric hot plates because that helps when we're on shore power, and lots of other little things like rugs to try and make it a bit more homely. We found some Chinese shops and various sort of DIY pound shops which have sold all the little things that we need. So I was just quite happy where we were. When we left the dock for the first time, it was quite a sudden departure because we had to leave because the tanks, basically the black water tanks, were overflowing. You can't just pump it out in the bay. So as soon as we got out to sea, we emptied the tanks, and my first job was cleaning the overflowing poo tanks. So our first job was to get away from that port because of all the shit trickling down the boat, and we had to clean it all up. And when we get far enough out, we need to empty the poo tanks. Okay, that's the first job in paradise. So that was the first job. The kids were feeling a little bit seasick, I'd say. It takes a while to get your sea legs. It wasn't really rough, luckily, so it wasn't too bad. Yeah, they kind of got on deck. They were lying down, sleeping a bit, and I'm just getting used to it, really, adjusting. Our little one, actually, he was quite up for getting involved in the sailing, and so we showed him how to use the autopilot, which we called Otto. And as soon as he worked out how to turn it on and off, that's what he did most of the journey. Was he would turn it off, then he would steer, and then he would turn it back on again, and he loved being in charge of that. But obviously we made sure that we supervised him when he did that. So our first trip went fine. We got the sails up, it was really lovely, and then we arrived in Parga and we dropped anchor. Just thought we have to squeeze in a swim before we leave. The kids jumped in off the side of the boat, and we all enjoyed ourselves so much. Oh, fins went in the water like this, like a little fish. So we had to leave that bay because it was supposed to be southerly, blowing us onto shore. So we left and went to a bay that was going to be more on the north of an island. But as it happened, it was a lovely bay, and we turned up. It was really nice. The kids went out swimming again. But then the weather switched around to the north, and it was quite strong winds. And it was the wrong bay to be in, but it was too rough, really, to go around to the other side. So we stayed in that bay that night. Extra chain down, ready for the winds that are going to pick up. And this was just to take the pressure off, but that's what's happened to that and hoping that the anchor holds tonight. in not long ago. They're both over to our port side. They sort of seem to be holding all right, but they're up on deck as well. We've got a very much larger ship over here, and they've tied a shoreline on. They're quite a steady boat, and they seem to be fairly steady, but they have been out putting extra lines out as well. I expect everyone's just preparing really for the winds to pick up a bit. It was supposed to be southerly, which means this bay would have been ideal because we'd be blowing off the shore, but the wind actually came round to the north and the northwest, so we're kind of getting blown into the bay. So the Beaufort scale tonight is a force 9 and up to 55 miles per hour winds. So we've got another anchor ready, a kedge anchor, which we've tied on, and we've got that ready to launch if we need to. And just sort of assessing the situation really. Kids are absolutely fine. They've watched a movie, they're chilling out, they're feeling a little bit ropey. They want to go to shore, but we're not going to do that till tomorrow because we feel like we ought to stay really on the boat. Our anchor has been holding so far. The winds do pick up, but we've got a plan if the anchor does slip. So as long as none of those things fail, we should be all right.